It's not something I've studied all that closely, but you are going to see the Milia. Look at you with the call-out.
I knew it. I knew it. I mean, I'm telling you, this matchup could be really tough for Soul because Axel has every tool in disposal to be able to deal with most of Soul's options. You never know what you can deal with what your options really will be available to you against an Axel, because Axel's everything.
Absolutely.
Everything other than DP.
Also, I looked it up. Princess Slim lost only 3 games since they got sent to losers.
Oh, goodness gracious!
And one of them was in the grand finals that they were resetting. So
definitely names to look out for. However, the names we're looking at right now for our winners finals this week, these players are insane. It's incredible. I mean, DPS taking huge names off the table. Mike already showing their performance as Soul, and now with Milia, you never know what could happen. And now it's going to be a battle of attrition.
Oh, that's going to sting. Oh, no, he pushes the K.
Similar with the Milia versus Leo matchup. Or, no, sorry, Axel versus Leo matchup. These are a battle of zones. And Milia's going to have a lot more freedom to try and choose her zone of where she wants to be in. But again, once Axel gets back to neutral, you never know what could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, even in neutral, it's just so easy for Milia to cut through just like that. Mike is in. There's the pressure. Tries to backdash. Doesn't be able to get it. That should be the kill. Doesn't even need the hair slide afterwards.
No, very nice. Very, very nice. Like, again, this Milia pick could turn out to be the exact answer that Mike needed. I mean, however, the one huge con is that Mike took one combo and a piece of chip for half his health.
Very true, but you're very rarely going to get caught. Your movement is so great. It's unlike Leo, like you were saying earlier, in that you actually have multiple avenues of attack. And not even just multiple avenues of attack being, oh, I actually have good air approaches and I have good ground approaches. No. You have like 3 different directions you're going to come in from on the air alone.
And we saw earlier as well.
Oh, big backdash.
Axel's best anti-air, I'd say, his 2S, actually whiffed against Milia's jumps.
Right.
Which is a huge tool to have for Mike. But the 2S, again, as we just mentioned, will catch Mike out of the sky.
This is honestly just an anti-air game. Mike is just ripping JH after JH after JH. There needs to be some level of control gained here by DPS, and I'm just not seeing it from them quite yet. There's a lot of games to go. There's a lot of rounds to go. We gotta find it out soon.
I just think it's so important that Mike needs to make every touch matter, and it looks like he is.
Like
very solid wall break.
Yep.
But this is where it gets scary. What a slide in. Yeah. This is huge.
Good.
Mike just needs any kind of opening back in.
Touch
and there
him
it is. Hold up. Oh, the rush
again.
Just IDGH all the time, and that'll take the round again. Mike taking first game for winners finals. This is going to be an explosion.
My goodness. Mike is going to have to name his first kid, like, Johan with a JH, the way that this is going. Like, you clearly love the combination that much. You gotta put it in your life a little bit more. Taps him up with the Rose. Big combo early on. Getting the tension is going to be massive. Being able to push in and actually have damage afterwards, but that burst is going to give him the corner and a lot of room to back up. But that room to back up hardly matters when Milia gets in so easily.
No, these IDJHs are working pretty well, but it seems like DPS starting to get a read on them. Get that 1-2S in. You never know just how soon it'll be until DPS's Axel starting to learn how to deal with those movements.
Super. Pressure flowing. Oh,
huge gold burst. This is gigantic. This one could confirm. Didn't confirm with the RC, but the disc will still catch cross up. It's such a brutal mix-up. He's dash over you all the time.
Yeah.
The disc is just going to be always something that you have to look out for and you have to respect without the DP.
Yeah, and it's the spots that Mike is jumping from when DPS feels like they need to block. are very tough angles for them to be able to get that 2S. It just does not look reasonable. And now you're seeing them go for that little... I don't know Axel moves that well. Going for that little high flicky move over themselves. That's
so
their
that move is a command
6
special that allows for a low and really safe like runaway tool.
Oh, sorry, no. I'm talking about the 6P. That was just kind of creating a little arc above themselves. That should do. Regardless of which move I was talking about, none of them are going to be enough to stop Mike Saftig. I mean, you were giving a lot of credit, and rightfully so, to DPS on what they were doing to be able to slow things down. But Mike was like, hey, foot on the gas though?
Yeah, no, like again, Mike, this whole tournament, no fear. No fear. It's showing with Milia, too. I mean, you see just how Mike was playing Soul. And Soul is obviously a character that you want to be aggressive with. But as Milia, it can be a much higher risk to be aggressive like this, and it's still working out somewhat. But the
what a burst
bait! And all of a sudden, DPS looks like they're starting to roll towards the adaptation, around a game.
Gotta put out a lot of these preemptive 5Ps to be able to catch that angle that Mike Saftig seems to be coming in a lot. You have to find a way to deal with aerial approaches. That JH is going to get so much mileage, but finally, DPS is handling it. They're able to kind of control things at least slightly. No use of the Winter Cherry there, just hanging on. Chasing him down. Does have pressure, goes for the side swap. Pressure.
I get that cross up, but he just blocks himself back into the corner. Very smart. Good tech.
Got him.
Solid. See, you're starting to see it. Mike's movement really strong against Axel. You can see just how many of Axel's tools are starting to get locked off because of just how well Mike is moving. But Deep is starting to get used to the offense that Mike is throwing out. I mean, we've seen previous Milias and how they mix, and I don't think we're quite seeing the same option presented as what other Milias have shown so far in the bracket.
No, Mike is using enough to win. And I'm sure that's just simply a case that it's, you know what, it's 2-1. I haven't been told that I need to use more than what I've shown. So hey, I'm just gonna keep using what I've shown until it becomes a problem. Then maybe I'll start cutting into it. But at 2-1 in the set, you know, having their burst baited, it does make things
very nice air throw.
Yeah, it forces them into a situation where they do need to change things up if they want to take this 2-1 to a 3-1.
I mean, right here, Mike has to do something huge here, but it's just a standard cross up mid.
Oh, they bait up the grab. They do have enough tension for super. The air throw is actually going to seal it. DPS puts them down.
Woo! A great round for DPS, and like again, we have to see what Mike will present in the future because yes, Mike's pressure is incredibly strong, and it's really good movement. But once Mike gets the advantage, I'm not really seeing enough actual mix from a character that has so many options. And DPS is kind of just blocking it out. Like, obviously, DPS isn't too scared of this because, look, whatever. Backdash, not gonna take that much damage. Just a low.
I think something that Mike needs to start employing, and they're kind of doing it right now, is not every hit needs to be the world. Some hits can just be a little tack on of damage and a reset of pressure. And also, not all hits actually even need to lead to pressure. You can just jump around and try and bait out moves. See what the... Oh, goodbye.
Speaking of bait out moves.
Yeah. See what the defensive option is, and that's exactly what DPS does as they put it down, and now the score is sitting at 2-2. Winner of this books their ticket into grand finals and puts themselves in a brilliant position as the two remaining players... well, actually, Punk hasn't fought either of them because Punk went into losers actually quite early compared to what was projected. Dumachi putting that one through. And,
huge upset.
Nitro losing. Regardless, we're into this one. It's the final match. Both players nearing that halfway point of their health. Axel, more around 70%, but there's those infamous JHs, or at least infamous to this match at the very least.
Just nearly inescapable. It's incredible that Mike's getting away with this many. Like 6P at least. I mean, Axel might have an incredible 2S for anti-airing from high up, but every character sells a 6P, and I don't think it's quite getting enough utilization just yet, as Mike puts in some good mix. The damage is high, but it's not quite enough. There's a 6P!
That's not enough. It's not enough. They're gonna jump in, use the PRC off the Rose. Big pressure, dashes across. Not gonna be able to dash back. Patches him out of the air.
Right as I mentioned it, DPS is showing just how strong 6P is. I mean, even just RC into 6P, as you see someone jumping on you, leads to that much of a reward. And now all of a sudden, Mike has to be extra careful about just how he's jumping in, which has been his biggest strength this match so far.
Yeah, because DPS is finally getting the timing down on these anti-airs. I mean, as much as I was, in all fairness, kind of slandering him for not hitting these anti-airs, it's not easy against Milia.
No,
she
not
has
at all.
forget the 3 different angles. For those 3 different angles, she has 3 different timings that she's gonna come in on. It's not an easy thing to do, and the fact that he's hitting it now is all that matters. It's what could push things ahead. He gets caught out of the air. Gold burst, baited.
Very tough to
DPS
punish.
stuck in the corner.
This is looking kind of scary for Mike.
Oh,
You never know.
Rose dash in again, still trying to jump in.
There
There's the
it
2S.
is.
Should do it. Got him. DPS puts it down. No need for a second hit at the end of that combo. Didn't need to convert any further. Didn't need any OTG. Just needed the DPS. They punched their ticket to grand finals.